Okay, good evening. First council session of 2026. Welcome. It's 5:30 on January 12th, 2026. And I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda if everybody's had a chance to take a look at it, please.
So move, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Pence.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Councillor Rice, thank you. Any changes or adjustments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. The minutes from our December 15th meeting. Hope everybody's had a chance to take a look. If we could have a motion to approve as provided, please.
So move, Your Worship, as written.
Thank you, Councillor Pence. Seconded.
Seconded.
Councillor Fortune, thank you. Any comments, changes, edits suggested? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Item 3, any business arising from the minutes?
Your Worship, I'm not aware of any.
Not hearing any? No. We will move to our presentations. Item 4, we have presentation of service awards.
So I'll just announce each name and years of service, and if you could just come forward. So the first person this evening is Paige Draper with 5 years of service. Next, we have Nancy Cullen with 5 years. Next, we have Constable Gabe Vandergrift. Next, we have Brad Green with 5 years, but I don't believe Brad is here this evening. And Andy Hardery, 5 years, and Andy's not with us this evening either. I'll go through the list because I think that's it for this evening for people in attendance, but I will read those out.
Okay.
So we have Jason O'Donnell, 5 years, Lori Dunbar, 10 years, Vince Conway, 15 years, Dylan Stancombe, 15 years, and Tracy Fitzpatrick with 35 years.
Wow. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to the next item 5, presentation, and that is being presented by Andrew Taylor, Dustin O'Leary, and Jonathan Taylor of St. Barbara Limited.
Mine.
Okay.
The HDMI cord's a little loose, so you might just have to...
I promise I'm plugged in.
There, that's better.
There you go. Okay. Well, Mayor Stroud, councillors, thank you very much for having us here tonight. We really do appreciate it. My name's Dustin O'Leary. I'm the Business Development Manager for St. Barbara Atlantic Operations. As you heard already, here with us tonight is our VP of Operations, Andrew Taylor, who lives stone's throw from here anyway, and no relation, Jonathan Taylor, who's our Superintendent of Community Relations, who would be, as we go forward, your sort of central point of contact here in Stellarton. But I won't take long on the agenda, but we'll give a little history of our business in the province of Nova Scotia to this point, and then we want to talk about the 15-mile processing hub, which is the project that we're looking at developing the next few years here in the province. A little bit about community support and why we're here specifically in Stellarton tonight. But before I do that, I do just want to acknowledge that St. Barbara respectfully, of course, acknowledges that our operations are located on the traditional and ancestral and unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq, and that we're all treaty people. In any mining presentation, you do have to give a little legal disclaimer, just because we're giving you the best knowledge we have on the project to this point, but you know, circumstances are always able to change. So this is just sort of a legal disclaimer around that. So I want to be, I just, you know, want to be fair in being upfront about that with everybody. So a little history on St. Barbara in the province. St. Barbara acquired the former Atlantic Gold, which had began operating the Tukoi gold mine in 2017. That acquisition, of course, closed in July 2019, and St. Barbara has operated within the province of Nova Scotia since that time. St. Barbara also has another mining property called Simberi. It's in Papua New Guinea, which is, if you drilled through the earth, is basically on the exact opposite side of the planet. Simberi's workforce numbers approximately 750 right now, and of those, about 96% of the workforce are nationals and local to the mine. And while you couldn't have two more diametrically different, you know, sort of spots in the world to operate within, we do always work under the sort of same value proposition, which is safety always. We empower people and with diverse teams, we build stronger communities, we respect the shared environment, and we attempt to grow sustainably. So I think, you know, before we talk about, we do have a history here in the province, and I think it's important to talk about that before we talk about the future. The Tukoi gold mine, which operates just outside of Moose River, or just near Moose River, is you know, operated from late 2017 to 2023, but its construction took place within a year. At that time, about $186 million was spent during the one-year construction period. There was $32 million added to the Nova Scotia economy during that time. And please, if anybody has questions, stop me. I'm happy to stop and move on as we go. There was $98 million spent just in that 1 year in wages locally, and 983 jobs were created during that construction period. Important, you know, sort of local timing context is that it was a much different job market at that time. So it's much more sort of, you know, competitive today. So that's one of the reasons I'll discuss later while we're sort of here to discuss this with you. During operations, so as I said, October 2017 approximately to September 2023, there was $53 million spent annually on operations. That was, you know, for the entire life of the mine. Of that, about $25 million was annually spent on wages within the province, and there was about $150 million in economic activity within the province annually, and 400 jobs were created during that time. So since September, we've reduced that workforce, but at its peak, about 400 people worked at the Tukoi mine in Moose River. It's important as well to note that we're reclaiming the Tukoi site, right? So it did close in September of 2023, and we totally acknowledge that the history of mine reclamation in the province hasn't always been a wonderful story to tell, but we're trying to change that. So to date, over $18 million has been spent on reclamation activities within the site itself, and $15 million of that was spent on local subcontractors. And the St. Barbara Atlantic Operations still employs 40 people within the province. I'm one of them. There's 2 more here. And we keep our key staff, and of course our environmental department remained unchanged after the close of the site, because there's still a variety of environmental monitoring that needs to be done at the site as we move along through reclamation. So the key points about Tukoi is it generated over $500 million in its operational lifespan, as well as during construction. And the project continues to, generate economic activity today through its reclamation phase. Interestingly, you hear sometimes about historic tailings and remediation of historic mine tailings. So Tukoi was a site where there was mine reclamation or mine tailings that were left over from the late 1800s, early 1900s that we actually reclaimed as part of our operations on the site. So about 55,000 tons of historic mine tailings was committed to and was reclaimed as part of the operations at Tukoi. And one thing most folks don't realize about mines is that we reclaim, but we also purchase an offsetting amount of land that's of equal or greater ecological value to donate to the province as part of our operations. So in 2025, we closed an agreement to purchase over 200 hectares of land that was then donated back to the province, in addition to reclaiming the site that we have now. And Tukoi provided over $40 million in direct government revenues to the provincial municipal governments during the constructions and operation phases. And as you may have heard, we have partnered with a company called Natural Forces to explore the possibility of using the natural terrain of the Tukoi pit that exists to create a closed-loop hydro energy storage station. Puts a little bit of it can be a renewable energy hub at the end of its life, the mine lifespan, and it's a little bit of a head turn on what people perceive as mine reclamation and what the life of a mine looks like after the actual mining activity is completed. Happy to answer any questions on that as we go along. So then the 15-mile processing hub. So St. Barbara has announced, its intent to permit 15-mile the processing hub as one project. So I'll explain a little bit further. 15-mile itself is located near Trafalgar, or Trafalgar, as some refer to it. Will host, and it'll host 4 open pits, and that will be the central processing hub. Beaver Dam is located near Sheet Harbor, and Cochrane Hill, which is located near Sherbrooke, would house what we call quarry-style satellite pits. So in other words, basically a quarry that the material from those pits is trucked to 15-mile to be processed. There'd be no processing of ore at either of the satellite locations, but there would be at 15-mile. And 15-mile, for those who aren't, I'm sure many are familiar, but it's already used by Nova Scotia Power as, for hydro purposes and that. So there is some existing industrial work going on there at the same time. Notably, the economic benefits during construction, over 1,600 jobs created and $115 million in local spending during construction. You might notice that that's a little lower than the amount for Tukoi. One of the reasons is that a lot of the infrastructure from Tukoi still has much life left in it. So it's being moved to, the intent is to move it to 15-mile. So while unfortunate that it's not new spending necessarily, the good thing is the moving will take place within Nova Scotia. So of that 115, a lot of that will stay solely within the province because it's just to move materials. $236 million added to the provincial GDP and about $163 million in wages just during, again, the 1 year approximately construction period. And then the operational phase. So it's assumed that the operational phase of the 15-mile processing hub will be about 11 years. About $500 million added to the provincial economy annually, and about $78 $70.8 million in wages. So 442 direct jobs, 510 indirect. So that's economic activity that happens around, as well as, like, even for Tukoi as an example, we kept contractors on site for much of our time for the 5 years at Tukoi, anywhere from, from that facility, 40 to 60, could go a little higher, could go a little lower. And a total of $2 billion in spending during the life of the project. So, and it's anticipated 4.8 billion with a B, increase in the provincial GDP. So that's $264 million per year. That includes the assumed reclamation phase as well, which would be about 7. So, and it will likely go longer. Reclamation even for Tukoi will likely continue on as far as water testing and that as we go along. So there's opportunities certainly in direct, indirect employment, contractors, and community partnerships. So I do want to talk a little bit about our history in Pictou County and here in Stellarton. In 2024, we opened our community office. I think some folks attended our office opening, and it was literally just down the street on Ford. And we do have additional offices in Sheet Harbor and Guysborough, which Jonathan puts a lot of kilometers on a vehicle every week traveling to here and there. And we do have community partnership agreements. So we have over 25 community partnership agreements now along the the Eastern Shore and Central in the province now more. We look at these as ways to invest in the communities that provides. One of the things we've found as we've gone along is that, people ask for donations in time where things are really needed, but don't necessarily, think about it year over year. So we wanted to make sure we did that. So in Pictou County, St. Barbara has over $120,000 committed in partnership agreements with nonprofit organizations now. 3 that are sort of close to our heart are the Pictou County Food Bank, the Chamber of Commerce, and Karma Closet, which operates out of the Northumberland Regional High School. It's a great program. We got to be there one day while the vultures started coming in around lunchtime, and it was very cool. So so we look for opportunities where we can do that, and I think one of the things that sort of has set us apart with that is that they are 3-year agreements. So we don't. You're not just asking when times are needed. We become our funding becomes part of their operating. So it's great because oftentimes it's easy to get donations to cut ribbons, but not to operate, right? And we do support the graduates. So certainly at North Nova and Northumberland Regional, which I think Andrew is pictured with one of the graduates there this past year. So to date, over $800,000 has been distributed as part of the community partnership agreements, and as I said, it provides steady year-over-year funding. Is that greater than 800,000 or how?
Just over that.
Okay, cool. So as well, we want to talk about the business community a little bit. So the word I want to leave everybody with is opportunity. They're here for us now, but we are looking to the future pretty steadily. And the hiring of both contracting services and the hiring of employees. So in November 2024, we did a series of what we called opportunity sessions in Sheet Harbor, in New Glasgow, and in Guysborough. And out of those sessions, we start having discussions because we need to see what capacity there is in not just, specifically where these operations are located, but in the area, what is there and what's available. So it was good. We had a lot of people come out, but certainly, one session, one time is not going to get everybody, and we want to make sure that, we're talking to the folks that know their communities to see what's available. So we certainly say if you know of potential suppliers and or employees interested in working in this field or interested in, speaking to us, feel free to get them to reach out. We will provide our information to everybody, but that's the, so, one of the questions when we went to Guysborough, because again, in Guysborough, we went there in October, and the project itself really isn't in the boundary of Guysborough. So, why are we here, right? Like I was sort of anticipating what council might ask ahead of, it's, we really look at the benefit of this project as being regional, right? Like this, a project that brings $4.8 billion in economic activity over 11 years is substantial, right? And we want to make sure that the benefits are shared among the communities all along, and that, you know, some of it is about building capacity within communities to be able to capitalize on the opportunities. So, you know, that's the request here, is really to make council more aware of what our plans are and what we're planning to do, and to see where there are opportunities to work with you and to have you work with us to make sure that Stellarton is part of it and capitalizes on the opportunities ahead. That's it.
Thank you, Dustin.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Listen, I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite parts to be in this role, is gaining insight to these opportunities and developments. I think this is, personally, I'm really excited with it, you know, and I think we'll be very privileged, to be honest with you, to have you guys working out of Stellarton as your corporate office, and being, you know, in proximity to this, given, you know, the success with getting it into operation. It's the peripheral. It's tremendous. It's huge. What do you have? Just in the construction over a year, $116 million. That is, like you say, a regional benefit, plus your community partnerships and everything else. So I think it's great that you came up and presented this, and I thank you for you know, picking Stellarton to squat and set up your corporate presence, and let's help get the word out. Does anybody have any questions or comments around the presentation? Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. Thanks for the presentation. It was thorough and lots of really interesting points. I did attend the more casual open house that you had here in the Stellarton office recently, and at that time I had asked Andy about whether or not the mine had been approved at that point, and I think this was a few months back. My memory's kind of terrible, but at that time it hadn't been officially like good to go yet. So are you through those hurdles yet, or you're still in very much the...
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
So we're still at the very beginning of that. It is a multi-year process to get through. The big part is, and what I think we've done a little bit differently than Goldboro did, is that we're advancing a lot of the information that Goldboro now needs to do now that they're permitted. So we're going to go into the permitting process with all the information that we expect that we're going to need to get to that final approval, and then continue on through to the commissioning, or transfer of the equipment and then commissioning. What we are working on right now, sooner than that, is to reopen 2-point line and actually operate for what would be 13 months there with some material that's loading into our stockpiles, that we're actually advancing and permitting on that before we push through less than 15 mile. But we're current target is, I believe, late 2028 that we expect that we'll start to actually do the physical works. But there's even before that, as we get through that permitting, there is still a lot of work that we need to do with third-party contractors around design, engineering, and some of the planning and things like that as well. So really, even before that, there's a fair amount of money that's spent that we're going to have to spend to get to that point to start the transition of all the equipment. So that's still a little ways away, but it's a pretty amazing how quickly that time span will get now as we work through the process.
And if I can add one thing through the mayor to you, is that when I said it's a different job market, I mean, there really is the way it works best for mining here is to have the folks working and supplying us be as close as they possibly can be. I mean, the joke from a mining perspective at Tukoi at times was that you could order a pizza and it was still hot when it got there, right? So like the more you have around the site that you can capitalize on. So what we're trying to do is get that word out sooner than later, so that, because it's not, when you're talking about the type of workforce we're talking about, it's not easy to build that up in a very short period of time.
Yes.
And we want to keep it as local as we possibly can.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I just wanted a little clarity on that because I wasn't sure if between your open house a few months ago and today, if any decisions had been made. I understand it's going to take some time.
It's still full speed ahead.
Yeah.
It does take time to get
Yes.
through the development of those documents.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
That's great. Great question by Councillor Rice, and appreciated, Andrew, your response. We should have actually pulled you up to the mic for the benefit of anybody, and reviewing. No, I just mean to share. But to recap, that the answer to the question is they're not yet through the permitting, and it's going to take several years with the anticipated date of 2028 to hopefully get started with the processing at 15 Mile.
Yep.
But excellent context, and really appreciate it. I know it's a tremendous, a whole lot of effort and a lot of time to get through these regulations and the headwinds, right? Be it of different flavors, but the trades. Now, speaking to the local benefits, I'm curious about trades and how much you would draw from our local community college. Do you anticipate any particular trades that would be handy in 2008?
So and that's one of the reasons that the whole Pictou County area is actually really important. So a bit of context, when we operated at the Tukoi mine, which is Musqueam, we actually had a fair number of millwrights, electricians, and actually operators that actually came from Stellarton and Stellarton, New Glasgow from Pictou. When you look at 15 Mile processing hub, will be where we have the largest workforce. So roughly around 500 people across all three sites. 300 plus will be at that processing hub, and that's where most of the millwrights and everything like that will be. It's in Trafalgar, so there's really not much. You've got 15 miles south of that, you've got, I don't really say Trafalgar, but I'm learning. So you've got Sheet Harbor, 15 miles south, so not a large workforce there. We're about 40 minutes. It's about 40 minutes from my place. So from bottom of Weir, straight down 327. Am I going to get that right? 374. I never get this. So straight down and turn off, and it's only about 40 minutes. So it's about an hour and 10 to get to Tukoi from here. So we expect that a lot of that workforce can come from this area. Again, we use McGregor's a fair amount when we had contractors right out of here, Core Electric as an electrical supplier. So when we were operating for the last 5 years, this area was a large draw, and that was actually at a farther distance. So we do expect that the draw to be able to either have people that exist, living in this area, or people moving to this area to be the main place where they might live if they're coming to work for us would be in this area. It's one of the reasons that when we moved back from Ontario that we chose here. I knew those projects were coming, and the distance between Halifax and 15 Mile Hub is about 2.5 hours. So a lot less convenient, even though it's about an hour to Tukoi from Halifax. So this becomes a much more central hub to that area. And like I say, not just millwrights, heavy-duty mechanics, light-duty mechanics, just the operators. We do all our own training, so heavy equipment operators, mill operators, they can all that training can happen on site through our own internal training. So it's a huge opportunity, and like I say, this is the largest community within close proximity.
Great, thanks very much. Well, let's keep the lines open. Any information sessions or so on coming as we go up further down the road. If you make us aware of them, we can share them respectively. Any other comments, questions, Council? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
As we usually explain to people in the gallery, you're not obligated to hang around, but you're perfectly welcome to. Our next part of the agenda will be reports from staff. Our first report is from the Chief of Police, Chief Mark Hoback.
Thank you, Your Worship. So highlights from the Stellarton Police Service December 2025 report Calls for service totaled 174, compared to 2024 calls for the same time period at 204. Total calls for 2025 totaled 2,603. Highlights for events over the month included officers provided an escort for G.R. Saunders' Christmas party sleigh ride in the park. Inspector Pond gave a tour of the police station to Career Connections. Constable Gabe Vandergrift attended Operation Christmas. Chief Hoback and Inspector Pond attended G.R. Saunders' turkey dinner. Officers escorted Santa on the fire truck through all the streets of Stellarton. And network migration has been completed with the last of the RCMP equipment being transferred over to the police server room. And that concludes highlights from the month.
Thank you, CAO Grover. Before we enter any discussion, could I get a motion to accept the report as presented? Thank you, Councillor Pence.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Ice. Any questions or comments around the report? I'll bring one just as a bit of insight from, we reviewed some of these activity report at a recent police commission meeting. And one item we noticed, municipal bylaw activity was up to 31 from 2, and it was discussed and determined it was largely to do with the parking ban. So just a reminder to folks, we're into the season. Vehicles had to be removed overnight. Hearing no other comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next report is from Chief Michael Sullivan, the Fire Department.
Good evening, Your Worship, CAO Grover, and councillors. Please excuse my voice, but I'm down with a bit of something. The month of October is always busy around the Stellarton Fire Department. We participate in several special events at G.R. Saunders, helped out with the annual tree lighting where Santa stops by, and the ever-popular Santa truck all over the town on top of the fire truck. And also the department entered a float in the Parade of Lights in Westville, and we were a trophy winner, I might add. During the month, we also responded to 10 calls. 2 were alarm calls. One was a green bin on fire, one was a lift assist, one was a medical emergency, one was for smoke sighting, one was an assistance to police, and 3 others were for mutual aid. And an average of 11 members attended, and practices were held weekly with an average of 12 members participating. We did take a small break away from practices for the holidays. And lastly, individual crews complete a hall cleanup every weekend, as well as equipment checks to make sure everything's up and running. Just wanted to add, it's not on the sheet here, but this Saturday I'll be attending a meeting in Glasgow at Station 33. They're going to be updating us as to what's happening with the changes coming for the fire school in Waverley and across the province. So I did give CAO Grover a copy of the last information that I had for you folks, just to keep you up to date. And so what I hear from on Saturday, I'll let you know as well, in case you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Could I get a motion to accept the report? Councillor Pence, thank you.
So move, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Pence.
Second it.
Second to Councillor Fortune, thank you. Any questions, comments?
I would like to take a moment, Your Worship, and thank the fire department very much for driving Santa Claus around Christmas Eve. I know a couple of young people that I know personally that were really looking forward to seeing Santa Claus on the fire truck. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pence. I can think of a few middle-aged folks that were looking forward to.
That's good.
They run to the door to see it.
Yeah.
Do it all again next year.
They do it all again.
Thank you.
How many years have they been doing that, Mike?
Long before my time. I've been on 33 years now, so it's over 40.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good. That's a nice
I think we
touch.
were the first in the county, actually. I know some other towns are kind of wanting to claim that they started it first, but I would say that we're well ahead of them.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always look forward to doing it
It's
too.
on the record now.
Yeah. Bragging rights.
A quick follow-up. Last time we met, I think we talked about volunteers, there being a bit of a search and effort toward that. Has there been any positive take-up in
We have,
volunteering?
I
No
can-
specifics, just generally?
Yeah, I think we have 5 applicants at the moment, so what we're trying to do is to update our bylaws, which we just finished. We're also working on our SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures. That's going to probably take an evening for that, and then we just want to get all the paperwork that would apply to our new recruits up and running first, and we'll start the interview process after that.
Great, you're getting
Yeah,
take up.
but
That's,
there is interest, which is good, so,
thank you.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, accepted as presented. Next, we have Paige Draper, Marketing Communications.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My report was included in the package. I have no changes or additions, but I'm open to any questions if you have them.
Motion to accept before we...
Moved.
Mr. Fortune, thank you. Seconded. Councillor,
Seconded.
Councillor Rice, thank you. Any comments, questions for Paige? Do I want to see some lights on? I see Councillor Pence, Councillor Rice, your lights are on.
Oh, yeah, I'm still on. Well, since my mic is on, I wanted to take the opportunity, Your Worship, to thank Paige for all of her continued hard work at making sure that the festivities throughout the holidays were well informed to constituents, and things like the holiday tree lighting went off really well. It was well received, huge turnout, and yeah, it was fun to be a part of it again this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Thank you, Paige. Paige, I'll ask you, while you're on the chair, might as well, looking ahead, it's a great report on what's transpired, but looking ahead, I'd like to think we could hopefully encourage more volunteer activity in the community, the best that we can, at least, by sharing any anticipated needs. But looking ahead, now we're in January, do you have anything on top of mind as to any areas we should be soliciting and maybe sharing where we'd like people to step forward to help volunteer toward any particular efforts?
The biggest thing for us is generally homecoming. That'll be planning will start up again shortly. And that's always kind of the space where there's a lot of, I want to say, not small roles, but there's a lot of sort of behind the scenes or, not really in your face sort of jobs that we would love to have some extra help with. We had a good crew last year of people that signed up closer to homecoming, but that's always something certainly that that we look for sure.
Okay, great. Thanks again. Just the interest is just to look up, get out ahead of it to the extent we can, and hopefully have more hands. More hands, the better, I guess. Lighter lifting. Thank you, Paige.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Final report is by Blaine Murray, Town Engineer, Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have my reports as written. I just want to say December was a little bit of a busy month with snow removal, more so than most of recent years. We just hope the trend doesn't continue. Yeah, so if there's any questions.
I'll move the report as written, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Pence. Seconded.
Seconded.
Councillor Fortune, thank you. Any questions for Blaine? Comments?
I would say, Blaine, from my point of view as a councillor in the town of Stellarton over the years, you guys have been doing a great job cleaning the streets and salting them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll let the operators staff know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Pence. That's actually a good point. I've recently had few people approach me to make that distinguishing comment. We won't, not to mention any other.
And, Your Worship, we should also remember that our sidewalks have been kept clear too, as well, which
yeah.
is good.
Streets and sidewalks, great job keeping them clean.
Yeah.
2 questions for you, Blaine.
Sure.
has to do, and first one's just a comment. This is just, I'll more or less thinking out loud, and I say it to be corrected if I should be, but it's to keep these big projects in context for council and for anybody following along. Infrastructure projects under capital, we've got Rutherford Street, we're all very familiar with it, excellent job there, completed 99%. South Fort Sanitary Replacement, we're waiting for an approval from the railway. And I just, this is, I understand this has to do with a capital project we anticipated, and we budgeted to the tune of, I believe, $372,000. We've just been waiting for the go-ahead for the approval from the railway because it's situated around the tracks. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the existing sanitary line is within the railway right-of-way, so that requires their approval for us to proceed with replacing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is it taking so long, Blaine?
It's a good question, but plans and drawings and specifications are submitted to the main office, which is in Florida, and it's reviewed by them, and actually they're the ones that deal with it, and then there's engineers out of Montreal that review them, and they come back with comments, and we supply them, and it gets back and forth until it's approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And again, this is just about us keeping the lines, the dots connected on these projects as we become aware of them. So we've anticipated, it's just been dragging. It's outside our control due to a third-party approval we're waiting for. So this could kick into the new year if potentially another, it could be on the budget again for the year going forward. Appreciate that context. The other item is just, again, this is part of the continued education here on council. If we look at the water treatment, average water production, so treated water is up, but it's negligible. It's pretty consistent with this time last year.
1.1%, isn't it?
Right, you got it, Councillor Pence. And the third is, so then we get to the next item, we talk about rainfall. It's consistently down. That's been the story all year round. That's all consistent. So rainfall's down this time versus last year, same time, December. The next item, I just want to help us understand again, what's water withdrawal?
So these are annual volumes. The y-axis is cubic meters, so that's your annual volume that we withdraw from the river annually, and then the x-axis is by year. So there's a continuous trend, and I think we've discussed this maybe somewhat in the past, but there's a continuous trend that we're withdrawing and using less water in the town.
Okay, no, that's good. So it's,
And a lot of it does have to do with infrastructure projects, processes within the plant, replacing water mains in our distribution system, basically reducing our leak.
right, they're more efficient, we're processing more efficiently, and our infrastructure tighter, fewer leaks, and that sort of thing.
Correct, yeah.
So that, tying it all together, we treated water roughly the same, a little bit up. Rainfall's lower. We're drawing a little bit more, a little bit less, consistently less from the river. Continued trend. Okay, no, that's it. Thanks very much, Blaine. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Accepted as written. We have item 7 is the Committee of the Whole report.
So the following recommendation is for Council's consideration for the Committee of the Whole meeting held on December 22nd, 2025. On recommendation of Committee of the Whole, Council approved the newly created Display of Religious Symbols and Municipal Property Policy.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Grover.
I make a motion that we accept the report, Your Worship.
Seconded?
Motion to accept the report. Is this the report or the recommendation?
The
Recommendation from,
Okay.
The recommendation.
So the motion is to approve the recommendation made by Committee of the Whole Committee,
yeah.
correct? Okay, thank you, Councillor Pence, and here's second by Councillor Rice. Great. It's on the floor. Any discussion or questions around said policy?
I have a point, Your Worship. As many of you know, my concern is rooted in municipal neutrality and governance, not belief. I respect the important role that religion plays in many people's lives, my own included. However, as a municipality, we represent residents of many faiths, as well as those with no religious affiliation. Even when a policy such as this provides equal opportunity and equal access to all organizations, religious displays on public property can still create an appearance of endorsement and can feel exclusionary to some residents. For that reason, I believe maintaining a religiously neutral municipal space is the most inclusive approach, and I cannot support this policy. My vote is based on the principle of an inclusive and religiously neutral municipal government.
Okay, so to be clear, is that that's a premise to a no vote?
That's sorry, Worship, that's my discussion leading up to our vote.
Okay.
Pardon me, our vote when it takes place.
I've been on council since 1988. Took a few years off, and I never, ever thought that the town of Stellarton would come to this, where if somebody asked, us being a Christian town, if somebody asked to put an activity scene up, that we would have to make rules and regulations to that effect. And my vote is yes. I accept what was put forward in the Committee of the Whole.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ice. Thank you, Councillor Pence. Any other points for discussion? Okay, we'll take it to vote. All in favor of accepting the recommendation from
Aye.
Committee of the Whole? Aye. Not in favor?
No.
Okay, so we have 3 in favor, 1 not in favor, so that's motion carried. I think that's it for that. Okay, we'll have one final, I guess, context point around that. I did notice in a recent local article in the paper, I don't recall which one to be honest, but there was a framing around this where I think it was taken from the last council meeting where we had an update on the policy being in development. What I read indicated that the policy would enable policing of religious displays. My correction for the record would be the policy facilitates or enables, facilitates the display of said displays. So just a distinction there, I think, that is noteworthy. It's not meant to police, but rather to overall enable and facilitate. Any other comments? Okay, thank you. Move to item 8 is open forum. Not reading anybody, not seeing anybody in the gallery stepping forward. We have next, item 9 is next council meeting, Monday, February 9th at 5:30 p.m. And we will look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.